Welcome to American Dreams. I'm visiting here today with Jory Mack. Jory, welcome to today's show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So, Jory, for the listeners, you've done a lot of things in your life in starting new companies. And what was your first business?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was going to talk about. So basically, I mean, from the very beginning, I was actually working at a gym. It's actually kind of a funny story. I actually had a friend that wanted to be partners, and I quit the gym. And as I went to go and work with him, it was kind of like a epiphany for him. He was like, I just don't know if I even want a partner, period. So for me, I was like, well, I've already quit my job, so I'm going into business, So I kind of just took a leap, and basically I started with the kiosks in the mall. And it's funny because I used to hate the kiosks. That when you walk by them, you kind of go, oh, like, I don't want to talk to them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how everything started. And one thing is you get a lot of people that'll tell you, I don't care what business it is, you'll get a lot of people that'll tell you not to do it. And what I've noticed is you just don't listen to those people, because I will tell you, there's going to be naysayers and there's going to be negative people. From the beginning of any business, there's going to be people that think, oh, it's not going to work out. Oh, well, this is the problem. There's a lot of that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. You still want to be really smart about something. You don't want to make bad decisions. But part of entrepreneurship is kind of jumping off a plane or off a cliff and building a plane on the way down. So I've noticed that that's kind of, you got to make the move to just go with it and put your all into it. But yeah, so I started with that. And I would say my main, I guess, key to success was saving my money. So every time anytime I had, especially at the beginning, I was eating, even though I was making pretty good money, I was eating bagels and cream cheese, so that I can make sure that I saved every penny, so that I could reinvest it into another business. And I did. As those opportunities came, I started, buying other businesses. It started with more kiosks in the mall. Then I went into a phone repair shop. So one of my buddies was out doing a lot of he was doing like mobile phone repair, and so he was doing okay. He was making enough money to survive, but he had always wanted a shop, but he couldn't build up enough money to actually get a shop. And so since I saved my money, I was able to invest in a shop with him, and we've kind of we've been partners ever since. And so it's basically been save your money. I've just been saving, and every single time I have that opportunity. And one thing I've thought about was listen, if right now somebody offered me a $20 million what is it called, a hotel, and it's worth $100 million, would I be able to buy it right now? No, I wouldn't. But would somebody who has saved up all their money, or who has the ability to do so, they could do that, and they could turn 20 million into 100. But you have to start by saving. You could turn the most, especially for right now. I started with little. It was only like $4,000 that got me to buy my first one, and then it went into it was 60, and then as it keeps going, you can buy bigger businesses because you're saving money, and that to me is one of the most important things, and also keeping your eye out for opportunities.
What I think is interesting is that how you have grown companies holistically and it's a calculated risk, but it's your skin in the game, versus some people go out and say, let me get a loan from the bank, or let me bring investors in right away. And let me ask the question, have you had the experience of managing other people's money?
So, I mean, I have had, on a very low level, for me, if I was kind of in a place where I was like, I would like to have a little bit more working capital. I have an investor that just a friend that would, she basically every single time she was basically like, listen, I know you're going to pay me back. So, and I'd offer her a good amount of interest and she'd be happy with that. And so I would go out and I would at least make sure that I have that buffer. But I didn't really, pretty much everything was on me. The most I ever got was, I think a $16,000 loan. So, and that was really just for working capital. I could have done it myself. I just kind of was like, I would like to have a little extra so I can make sure I make the right decision instead of being a little scared with my money, if that makes sense.
Well, let's roll up to today. So you're now in a Reno Solar business, or?
Yeah. So that was more recent because of the whole COVID thing. Basically, all the malls got shut down. Everything got shut down. So for the first 3 weeks, it was the best weeks of my life because I was getting no calls from employees. It was the best vacation I've ever had. But after that, it drove me nuts because I'm just, I have to work. And so I'd been doing a lot of research into the solar industry for about 3 years. And actually one of my friends was working in the solar industry. So he and I partnered up on that, and it's going great. It's going really, really awesome. So your business process is, are you installing? Are you selling? What is it? What is Reno Solar's model? Yeah, it's mainly we're the consultants, and we partner with an installation company. So we work together. Obviously, it's the installers that do the back end work, and we do a lot of the. We go around and talk to people. We do a lot of advertising. We do a lot of the door knocking. We do we Facebook advertising leads. We get all sorts of. We do all that type of stuff. It was easier for us, at least at the beginning, to start that way because we wanted people that really knew what they're doing with installers. And then once we got to that point, then we could actually do installs ourselves.
So would you would you say that you're first a marketing company and second an installation, or now are you full service?
Well, right now we're still doing more of the marketing and sales part of it, and then, like I said, we're probably going to be doing we're probably going to get into the installs a little bit more here soon.
So in today's world, there's a lot of people that are looking for alternative energy sources. Of course, the fires and recently coming through, and the I'll call them brownouts, or the electricity going off, have given people a lot of concern for stability in this market. What are some of the incentives that are out there right now for a person installing solar in their home?
Well, there's a lot of incentives. The first thing is that, if you think about it from this perspective, you're already paying your bill. Right now you're already paying an electricity bill. So at the end of the day, you're just switching from an electricity bill to NV Energy or whoever you're working with, and to a fixed solar bill where you're basically financing a system, and it actually ends up being less because it covers your whole system. It basically offsets your whole bill, and so it's for me. I really especially once I got into this industry. I put solar on my roof immediately because I knew that it just made sense to me. You're building equity. You're gaining. You get tax credits too. You get a 26% tax credit, which is going away actually. Next year is going to be 22. But you get a lot of government incentives. You get a lot of incentives just in the fact that you can. You get the ability to save money instead of spending it. You're already spending the money, so might as well put it towards. It's kind of like the difference between renting a house and buying a house. Okay. If you're going to be spending that money, you're spending less, and it's going towards equity. That's
a great analogy. So purchasing a home, typically there's a large down payment. When you do solar installation, is it the same?
No. It's no money up front. Now, I will tell you, not every solar company does it that way, but we do no money up front. So basically, you can, if you'd like to.
And who finances it?
So we have a company called Sunlight. We've got companies called Loan Pal. We have a few different ones. It depends on if somebody has good credit, bad credit. There's some but I would say for the majority of what we do mostly Sunlight. It's basically a solar financing. So it's based on solar. It allows you to, before you get the tax credits, you get a certain amount of time. You get 17 months to actually to roll that tax credit in. And so it actually starts out at the lower payment, which is nice for people.
What does that system typically cost? Solar system for an average home?
That's really hard to say because the average home might have 2-3 kids. You might have 0 kids. There might be tons of you're looking.
Well, give me a scenario. You define family size and home size.
It's usually somewhere around the if you're talking about gross system cost before the tax credits and everything, you're usually looking at about $20,000 to $40,000 is usually, and so it's usually over. It's financed over 20 years, so it usually ends up being lower than your energy cost, and that's what it is.
Is there a certain point of energy use at which it makes sense to go to solar?
Say that again.
Is there a certain usage that where it makes sense to convert over to solar? Let's say a person has a vacation home.
Yeah. So if somebody has, so for me, I really honestly believe solar is the way to go, period. Because if you think about it from this way, a vacation home, let's say, has a lot less electricity usage. You can just build a smaller system. So it still will offset your whole, and there's a thing called net metering where basically it offsets your electricity. We build it at an average. So as your bill goes up and down. So when you're underproducing, you're using credits, and when you're overproducing, you're actually gaining credits from your utility.
Can you actually go backwards then? Can you make money off this? Is that
in some states you can. Nevada you can't. You get credits. You don't get an actual check. But they used to do that. They used to do it. I think it was like 8 years ago. Yeah, they used to send you a check in the mail.
So how has technology changed in the last 10 years?
So believe it or not, there hasn't really been a whole lot of change in the solar industry technology. I mean, it hasn't gotten a whole lot more efficient. It's not when it comes to solar, it's not a huge. The technology is pretty much the technology. I mean, there are people trying to do like all sorts of like tiles. There's talk about a paint that was like some solar paint, but a lot of those things are kind of falling away. Tesla was doing the tile roofs, and that didn't really work out. I think they just canceled their program. It's usually just panels. I mean, and they like I said, I think they've been 10, maybe 15% more efficient than they used to be, but they're not. It's not a crazy amount.
With advances in technology, do you see that one day when you can exclusively power your home with solar?
Well, you can exclusively power your home with solar right now. I wouldn't necessarily go through and do that for an entire city. Unless they're putting on each individual roof, because the thing is I do know that if you think about it this way, if you're powering an entire city with solar, what happens if you have a month long where there's no sun? I mean, you eventually have kind of an issue there on a whole city. But when it comes to individual homes, it's actually really good for everybody.
So what happens? Tesla has a system where they're saying we're going to put a battery in your home and accumulate the solar panels in it. Does that work? Is that something that you deal in with power reserve in the home?
Yeah, we that's actually the way that you can basically make sure that you don't have to worry about blackouts or brownouts or any of that stuff. Especially especially in today's age. I mean, with the rolling blackouts and all that stuff that you were talking about, it's definitely important to. I'm going to be getting a battery as well. At the beginning, I didn't really think it was an important thing for me to have. But I want to have it just in case, something goes out. I don't want to be replacing food and all that stuff too.
So, Jory, what is your geographic area that you're doing installations in? Pardon?
Reno, Nevada.
Reno. Okay.
We're focused mainly in Nevada. We are doing we can do some California, and we can do some stuff in Arizona and stuff like that. Actually, Utah as well. But right now, we're mainly focusing on Reno.
How does a solar owner handle snow?
Yeah, so
panels?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty common question. So you've got now. I will tell you, we basically build it. We build the system based upon that we have over 300 days of sun in Nevada. So that's all based on a shade reading that we do. So what you'll see is that you're actually going to see that the snow. A lot of times it'll actually just slide off because of the way that the panels are built, But the thing is that we build it just in case. We build it for so all the snowy days, all the cloudy days, and things like that too.
Okay.
So we kind of get it in there.
As your company grows, you've had an opportunity to build management teams.
Yeah.
So, what is your approach to building an effective management team?
Wow, that's a great question. So, honestly, a lot of it has been organic. At the beginning, you try to hire managers and put them in and stuff like that. Every once in a while, that works. But honestly, raising a team is, in my opinion, kind of like raising, children in a way. You got to kind of really teach them what you've learned, and you have to keep learning. You have to keep learning, and you always have to stay ahead of the group and always be learning from another source or whatever, and then be able to transfer that knowledge to the next person. And I'll tell you, it's worked really well. My managers are awesome. I absolutely love. And you know what? Honestly, the other thing is I feel like you have a really loyal team. I have a really loyal team, and I am so appreciative of having them, and it really just comes to really building yourself every single day, and then also make sure you transfer it over as much as you can.
What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Oh boy, it's funny because you know how they say entrepreneurship is it's the only job that you work an 80-hour job for yourself to avoid working a 40-hour job for someone else, right? So I think the thing that I love is the fact that I get to build something. I feel so accomplished when I'm done, when I can actually look back at it and go, that's mine. I created that from the ground up. I think it's the accomplishment afterwards that is the best part, because I will tell you, it's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's pretty tough. you're gonna want to quit, I would say, quite often. I probably wanted to quit maybe 5 times, and I just keep pushing through. You just keep pushing through because at the end it's you're gonna see what you want to see. It's kind of like working out. Nobody wants to go and just work out, but they love seeing what happens afterwards.
I love the analogy. It's and more often than not, the entrepreneurs are trying to solve a problem, not basically focusing on the money. And the money will follow as the problem gets solved.
Exactly. I think it's you want to focus on the procedure or the process. You know what I mean? Love the process, because if you love the process, then you'll get the results. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard to love the process sometimes. But I will say, at the end of it, if you're enjoying what you do, like knowing that you're pushing to accomplish something, just like working out, same thing. If you love the process, you'll get the results. If you only want results, you'll be checking the mirror every day, and then when you don't get it in 3 days, you're going to be over it. And that's kind of the same thing. So.
Well, Jory, I appreciate you being on today's show. For the listeners, how would they go ahead and reach out to you for more information, or if they want to get a solar panel in their home?
I mean, you can either email us at admin@renosolar.org, or you could even you could give me a call. Send me a text is probably better because I'm really busy. But 775-846-9371. And yeah, and I'll get back to you.
So, Jory, thanks for being with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan.